Hey everyone, let's talk about why farmers across the country are suing the Trump administration. The lawsuit on March 13th alleges that the U.S. Department of Agriculture unlawfully froze funds, and plaintiffs argue that the administration's actions violate the Constitution's separation of powers and the Administrative Procedure Act by refusing to disperse congressionally allocated funds. Now, we may know, some of you may already know, farming was already tough before Trump stepped back into office, thanks to things like the Russian-Ukraine war that was very disruptive to agriculture. Russia, supplies a huge portion of the world's fertilizer, and after sanctions, prices skyrocketed, up 50% or more in many cases. Ukraine also is a major wheat supplier, so we saw its exports disrupted, leading to global price hikes. It's a commodity, so farmers couldn't cash in because of rising costs and unstable markets. Also, climate change making everything worse. So farmers were already battling floods, droughts, extreme heat, hurricanes, pests, and just unpredictable rainfall. It's never been harder to grow food as it has been in the recent years. And then Trump made it even worse with three major failures. First, he froze USDA grants. Farmers signed contracts for funding under the IRA Act and the Farm Bill. They planned their whole year out, bought equipment, and made investments. But now the funds are frozen and farmers are left with bills they can't pay. Second, he killed USAID food programs. The U.S. used to buy surplus crops from American farmers and send them to starving families. This wasn't just a humanitarian effort. It also gave farmers a stable income. But Trump shut it down, leaving them stranded yet again. Third, his tariffs are backfiring again. I say again because he tried to do this in his first term. Tariffs on Canada and Mexico mean those countries hit back with retaliatory tariffs, cutting off key markets for American farmers. Some of these markets may never come back. If farmers want fertilizer from Canada, which they have plenty of, Trump taxes them extra with tariffs. And now let's talk about the latest betrayal. The Trump administration just agreed to help restore Russia's access to the world market for agriculture and fertilizer exports. So the EU banned Russian fertilizers because they know Russia will certainly weaponize them. The EU has no intention of lifting the ban. Meanwhile, 90% of US fertilizer is imported, and the majority comes from Canada. Instead of supporting American farmers by encouraging, domestic production or better trade deals with Canada, Trump is cutting deals with Russia. Surprise, surprise. This also undermines U.S. leverage in trade talks with Canada. We could have used fertilizer imports as negotiation leverage, but Trump's team just gave that away. Now, thousands of farmers are fighting back with this class action lawsuit. They're demanding action on USDA grants, USAID, and tariffs. Even in Trump's first term, his tariffs were such a disaster that he had to bail farmers out with billions in taxpayer dollars. I don't know how many of you are aware of that, but it's not very efficient if you ask me. Biden did come in and fix that mess. Now, Trump is making the same mistakes all over again. Our farmers deserve better. They deserve policies that support them, not deals that benefit Russia at their expense. Basically, your prayers around your dinner table thanking farmers doesn't suffice, but your votes for Trump directly and negatively impacted the very people you pray for and claim to support. Please spread the word. This matters. Thank you.
Our new trade policy will also be great for the American farmer. I love the...
No, the hell he doesn't. During the last trade war, we saw an increase in farm bankruptcies. We lost 90% of our soybean sales the week the tariffs went on. And that was just playing FAFO in one country. Now the whole world's tariff. I dropped my phone. Soybeans are currently down 28 today. Corn was leaking lower, about 5 to 7 cents, and now it's looking at like it's 2 to 1 penny across the board. Crude's down to $61.99, which means no drill, baby, drill. Live cattle are down 4, feeder are down 6. Hogs are down 3, cotton's down almost 3, and the dollar can't decide if it wants to be weaker or stronger. Trump doesn't love the American farm. He doesn't understand how tariffs work.
However, this deal could be more bad news for British farmers, as it's understood that the tariffs on American beef will be cut to zero as part of a 12-month temporary arrangement. Now, that could mean the UK could be flooded with cheap American beef, undercutting British farmers at a time where they're already severely under the cosh. Let's get some reaction now from the director of UK-US Special Relationship Unit Prosperity Institute, Sarah Elliott. Sarah, and for full disclosure, the Prosperity Institute is owned by the Legatum Group. The group is also one of the lead investors in the holding company of GB News.
Donald Trump is preparing to bail out farmers due to his trade policies with China. This is according to the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, who made the rounds on these Sunday morning talk shows. Now, she claims that these bailouts are needed because key commodities are plunging, particularly soybean and pork exports to China. No shit. We could have told you this was going to happen. In fact, we did tell you this would happen. She went on to say that this threatens billions of dollars in farm income annually, and that her and Donald Trump are praying that they don't need this bailout, but if they do, they're ready to provide it. But it'll be similar to Trump 1, when it was short-lived and cheap. It was neither short-lived or cheap in that first administration. In fact, it went on for more than 3 years and cost the taxpayers more than $28 billion. Now, if you're thinking, what's the big deal? Farmers provide us food. They should be bailed out. These are the same people who are directly voting against their own basic needs. Of the 444 counties in the United States that derive the majority of their income from agriculture, all but 11 of them voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. They voted for what they're getting right now. These are the same people who push their legislatures to vote against free school lunches and push their legislatures at the national level, congressmen and senators, to vote against student loan bailouts. Meanwhile, they're receiving billions of dollars a year in subsidies and bailouts.
Let's start with these tariffs. How are they already impacting your business's bottom line?
I mean, I have 3 months left before I go out of business. 3 months, that's it. Because if I can't get product here to sell, then I have no revenue coming in, which means I can't pay my employees. I can't pay my lease. I can't pay my loans, which I have my house leveraged against as collateral. And I maybe have 6 months and then I'm done. For me, I'm an Army veteran. I am just a mom who had an idea for a product. And I've worked really hard the last 7 years to bring this product to market. And now it could all be done in just months. It's terrifying. We just launched in Target last month. It was the biggest thing to take our kids and show them what we achieved. Our kids are a part of our business. I factored in the potential for that 20 to 30% tariff that we thought was probably coming and was reasonable. I did not factor in 145%. If we have to bring in more products for these retailers, I'm going to lose money on every single one. So for me, my next move is probably going to be looking for international distributors to sell our products in Australia, Canada, Europe, other countries where people can enjoy our products.
What is your message to the Trump administration when it comes to these tariffs on your industry?
I think just a message to our government is where's the checks and balances? In the military, I fought for our freedoms, our freedom of speech, which people are utilizing against me in many ways. But I fought for that, and that's okay. But I also fought for democracy. And right now it does not feel like much of a democracy. It feels a bit like a dictatorship. And I'm wondering, when are those checks and balances going to come into place to help prevent myself and the thousands and thousands of other small business owners being affected by this? It is horrendous. We are going to all fail because we don't have options. What are our options?
The funniest shit ever. So this guy, for years, who always flown those Trump flags, well, nah, he turned the motherfucker upside down because Trump is fucking all the farmers. Look at this shit. I hope he fucks them all up, man. This is between coming from Helena and going to Little Rock. And now all of a sudden, his Trump 2024 flag is flying upside down. He had to pay a lot of money for that motherfucker, man. They put that flagpole there, and for years, he's always flown the Trump flags. And Trump fucked him in 2016 and to 2020, and now Trump's fucking him from 2025 all the way to 2028, and now now it's upside down and half mast. I hope he fucks out his whole farm. I hope he destroys them with his stupid fucking tariffs and like he's fucking all these farmers. Well, good for you, sir. I guess you fucked around and found out, huh?
A lot of us here in Wisconsin are starting to realize that we made a mistake voting for him. A lot of us here own dairy farms, and they are literally about to go out of business because, see, the tariffs on Canada and Mexico, they're actually really bad for us. 40% of our products are sold to Mexico and Canada, and now they're canceling all of our deals. All of our product being sold to them is not going to happen anymore. So, he did say that he kind of wanted to start a tariff war with Mexico and Canada, and we voted for him anyway, even though it might directly bankrupt us. So, like, what was that about? I mean, we just did it. We just did it, and it makes no sense at all. I mean, comment and tell me what you guys think. Does it make sense for people who sell most of their goods to our foreign allies to vote for someone who said they were going to destroy that whole relationship? Does anyone in Wisconsin regret what they've done now besides us?
Tariffs are not going to improve American-made products. As someone who makes hay, I'm going to tell you why. We're in Florida. This hay is anywhere from $19.50 a square bale, right? This is about what we go through it for a horse in like a day or two, to $30 a square bale. Up in Maryland, where we make it, it usually costs us $8.50 to $10 a bale to buy. Because fertilizer coming from Canada is going to be increasing to $40,000 this spring for us, we have to increase our hay prices. So even though we're making the product in the country, we still need supplies from other countries, which makes it so we're going to have to increase prices from $3 to $5 a bale at best, which makes it so that that's the tariff price difference. And so what's going to happen is all prices are going to raise. We saw this with grain in February of 2020. It went up about 33%. Plus, if that price ever gets to there, even if the tariffs get backed off, that's the new price. No one's going to cut their costs because they can make it. And so the grain never went back down, even though the costs went down. And then the profit margin went up for a bit, but then with inflation, it kind of corrected itself. So it was great for a couple of years, but a bunch of people left the industry because it was too expensive. So now you actually have lower demand. And so then you're in a place where, again, your profit margin is about the same. So all we're doing is pricing people out of the horse industry, which I'm sure is happening in a lot of other industries, because all that tariffs do is make even American-made products more expensive because we need supplies from other countries, whether it is fertilizer or wood from Canada in order to make pine shavings, or if it's that countries get mad at us, so they stop buying our soy and they stop buying our corn that we're growing for animal feed. And so what happens is we end up losing a bunch of fields. So do I not grow hay? Do I grow corn? It's too big of a risk. And then I have to flip it back and forth between the fields. This took us like 3 years to get to. We started making hay because of the risk we had from the original tariffs. So sorry for the rant and rave. I'm happy to answer questions about this, but anyone saying that this is going to help the U.S. industry, I just really strongly disagree, and I think it's going to hurt us more than anything.